It should be no surprise that Queen Elizabeth II had a variety of pricey and priceless artifacts, but people underestimated how much more Queen Elizabeth actually had. You might be shocked to find out the extent of her collection. Without a doubt, due to her rank, she could purchase some items, but others went largely undetected. Many people would think, well, she's the Queen, she owns everything, but that's not the exact case. Even still, what she did own was significantly more expensive than possessing property or other assets. She has an endless list of possessions. We're talking about animals, mansions, diamonds, art, roads, to even an offshore wind farm. But the question is, how did she acquire these assets? What kind of impact did they have on her life? And will King Charles III be the one inheriting them? Here are 18 surprising possessions that Queen Elizabeth II held. Interestingly, all whales, dolphins and porpoises found within 3 miles of the UK's coastline were legally the property of the Queen. These magnificent animals have belonged to the monarch since the 14th century. Certainly, sturgeons, porpoises, whales and dolphins are recognized as fish royals and may be claimed on behalf of the Crown when they are caught within 3 miles of British coastlines. Her Majesty's surprise appearance at Wimbledon in 2010 to watch Andy Murray play astounded the spectators. She hadn't been to the renowned tennis competition in more than 3 decades. Regardless, the Royal Box, located just behind the court's south baseline, was always reserved for her even though she didn't attend games often. The Duchess of Cambridge is a regular visitor to the Royal Box, even though the Queen might not have been the biggest fan. Another of the Queen's properties in right of the Crown was Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London, more commonly referred to as the Tower of London. The 11th century building, which continues to be one of the most popular tourist destinations in the city, has had a significant impact on royal history. It was used as a jail throughout the First and Second World Wars, and it was all Queen Elizabeth's, including the crown jewels and, consequently, the fabled ravens of the tower. Adding to the Queen's vast collection of London's possessions is Trafalgar Square. This is where the British National Gallery and Nelson's Column are located. The latter is a tribute to Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson, a winner at the Battle of Trafalgar. Originally, the location held the royal stables and the falconry mews, 2 activities the royal family took very seriously. In today's society, thousands of people visit Trafalgar Square every day, making it one of the most popular tourist destinations in the city. The royal collection includes numerous personal items once owned by kings and queens in addition to magnificent pieces of art. The most amazing of these is Queen Victoria's sketchbook. She was the great-great-grandmother to Queen Elizabeth. The Queen had long had a deep love for horses, and this devotion extended beyond simply riding them. She reportedly had about 30 horses in training and was a shrewd investor when it comes to racehorses. Harper's Bazaar reports that as of late 2017, her remarkable stable of racehorses had brought the Queen close to $9 million in prize money from their 451 victories. Her first triumph occurred in 1949 at Fontwell Park when Monovine, a horse she and her mother shared, won. The Great Star of Africa, officially known as Cullinan I, measures 530.2 carats and is the largest clear-cut diamond in the world with an estimated value of $51 million. It was given to Mary of Teck, the consort of George V and Elizabeth II, in 1910, along with many other gems carved from a massive diamond discovered in South Africa 5 years earlier. The diamond was integrated into the sovereign's scepter with cross, the 3-foot staff that the monarch carried during their coronation when they returned to the UK. As a result, the diamond was now a part of the crown jewels, which were still nominally the crown's property. Elizabeth had a lot of beautiful tiaras, but any queen worth her castle has several of them. The diamond diadem, maybe her most well-known piece of jewelry, was one of the many sparkling headpieces she acquired. The 1,333 diamonds are put within it with a 4-carat yellow diamond at its center. Even though the Queen had worn it to each state opening of Parliament since 1952, George IV was the original owner of the item. The art collection owned by Queen Elizabeth II is undoubtedly one of the most prestigious in the nation. The works of art were still held in her name even though she did not directly own them. Instead, King Charles III will get them. over 1 million works, including paintings and sculptures, are wonderfully housed in the royal collection, which is properly named. Most of these are dispersed across 13 royal residences, but some are on view to the public in museums. An unexpected historical artifact was in the Queen's hands as a part of the royal collection. She was the owner of Henry VIII's 1540s era armor, one of the more intriguing items, and, thankfully, is on display for the public to see. Interestingly, the armor was made 2 inches wider to accommodate the king's expanding waist. It is the first of the former king's 6 surviving armors at a time when he was considerably frailer. The area where Buckingham Palace presently stands was formerly a massive mulberry grove, which James I attempted to grow his silkworms in during the 17th century. King James may not have succeeded, but the palace's connection to these notoriously challenging fruits still lives within the palace. In 2000, the Queen personally requested that the head gardener at Buckingham Palace to plant a definitive collection of mulberry bushes. One of the Queen's oldest and most opulent homes, Balmoral, has been home to a bat colony for a long time. The castle's seclusion and quiet make it the ideal place for the bats to live. This exemplifies the Queen's care for animals. Considering how much the Queen cared for animals, it may be easier to understand why she didn't mind sharing Balmoral Castle with the bat colony that had made the main hall its home. It's located in the centre of London's West End, one of the city's most visited areas. The roadway, over a mile long and passes through Piccadilly Circus and Oxford Circus, receives approximately 8 million visitors annually. Moreover, Regent Street is part of the Crown Estate. However, that does not entitle the king to collect royalties, although not all storefronts will fall under this. During her reign, the Queen held half of the foreshore from Grimsby to Cardiff and Northern Ireland. Due to its possession, the Crown Estate could charge large sums of money to lease specific plots of land or tidal land to businesses. These loans could be used for pipelines, outfalls, marinas, and harbour infrastructure. Amazingly, the UK's whole territorial seabed, which is utilised to generate renewable energy, was once owned by the Queen. Although she almost controlled the shore when she was crowned, her ability to receive royalties from wind and wave power was only granted in 2004. Her marine domain extended 200 meters deep across the British Isles, cutting through the Irish Sea and the North Sea in the middle. This brings us to another incredible asset, the Queen's offshore wind farm. It is 7 miles off the Kent coast and is known as the Thanet Offshore Wind Farm. It debuted in 2010, the world's biggest offshore wind farm. Unsurprisingly, King Charles III has inherited the Crown's involvement in numerous green energy projects. This includes Scotland's northernmost and biggest tidal power station, Pentland Firth Tidal Power Plant. In 1964, Continental Shelf Act established that the Crown might assert ownership over the UK's continental shelf. That is up to a distance of 200 nautical miles in specific locations as an extension of its control of the seabed. The government claimed ownership of the coal, oil, and gas deposits, while the Queen ultimately held rights to the subsoil and minerals on the UK's sea shelf. A favourite vacation spot for Queen Elizabeth II and other royals was Scotland. Even at her funeral, Her Majesty requested bagpipes to play after the service as a tribute to her love for the nation. For hapless prospectors, this is bad news. For instance, in 2018, an unidentified person found the largest nugget in Britain in a Scottish river valued at up to £56,000. The gold legally and automatically passes to the Crown if he is not authorized to take it. King Charles III will inherit this again, which could be a valuable treasure for other generations. Without a doubt, the former Queen was quite wealthy. Who knew that anyone owned a colony of bats, let alone Queen Elizabeth? Anyway, which of the possessions surprised you the most? And will we see any more surprise possessions pop up in the upcoming years? See you next time.